Other components. Load balancers. When a website's traffic starts getting quite large, or is running an application that needs to have high availability, one web server might no longer do the job. Load balancers provide two main features, ensuring high traffic websites can handle the load and provide a failover if a server becomes unresponsive. When you request a website with a load balancer, the load balancer will receive your request first and then forward it to one of the multiple servers behind it. The load balancer uses different algorithms to help it decide which server is best to deal with the request. A couple of examples of these algorithms are round robin, which sends it to each server in turn, or weighted, which checks how many requests a server is currently dealing with and send it to the least busy server. Load balancers also perform periodic checks with each server to ensure they are running correctly. This is called a health check. If a server doesn't respond appropriately or doesn't respond, the load balancer will stop sending traffic until it responds appropriately again. So here we have our desktop with a coffee, obviously, and a good book, and we make a request. Then after we make a request, the load balancers do their job. Content Delivery Networks, CDNs. A CDN can be an excellent resource for cutting down traffic to a busy website. It allows you to host static files from your website, such as JavaScript, CSS, images, videos, and host them across thousands of servers all over the world. When a user requests one of the host files, the CDN works out where the nearest server is physically located and sends the request there instead of potentially the other side of the world. Databases. Often websites will need a way of storing information for their users. Web servers can communicate with databases to store and recall data from them. Databases can range from just a simple plain text file up to complex clusters of multiple servers, providing speed and resilience. You'll come across some common databases: MySQL, MS SQL, MongoDB, GraphQL, Postgres, and more. Each has its specific features. WAF, Web Application Firewall. WAF sits between your web request and web server. Its primary purpose is to protect the web server from hacking or denial of service attacks. Basically, denial of service attacks is just send a ton of requests until the application goes like boom. It analyzes the web requests for common attack techniques, whether the request is from a real browser rather than a bot. It also checks if an excessive amount of web requests are being sent by utilizing something called rate limiting, which will only allow a certain amount of requests from an IP per second. If a request is deemed a potential attack, it will be dropped and never sent to the web server. And answer the questions below. What can be used to host static files and speed up a client's visit to a website? CDN. What does a load balancer perform to make sure a host is still alive? A health check. What can be used to help against the hacking of a website? A WAF.